Great doing.
Are you working?
What? Is he doing? Are you doing cue points? Are you setting up your cue points?
Yeah.
All right.
Wait.
Oh.
Got it?
Here, can you just pull it under that?
Yes. Great idea.
My
Cool. Thank you.
cool it now. Okay. A minute in.
It's okay. That's the best part is me adjusting my boobs, people trying to fix the mic.
You said the condom?
The mic.
Oh. Okay.
You wish I said condom.
I mean, I don't know what people are doing watching.
True,
when they're
true.
watching.
All right.
Okay.
This drink is always in here. Like, go there. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Hi.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of
Be Uplifted. I have 2 drinks because they don't want to have their drinks on the table.
No,
'Cause
mine's
we're not
like
sponsored.
right here. I know. But mine's been like on every single episode. So
It's just us 3 now. Okay.
everyone got tired of our shit.
Yeah. Notice the ones that roll their eyes at me the most are gone.
They were like, "We're done. Vince is done." No,
This
just
might
kidding.
be the first episode back. I don't know.
I know.
don't know.
We'll see. We'll see how things fall. Right.
Yes.
Yep.
So it's been so long, like a whole week, guys, since
Yeah.
I've seen you.
Yeah. A whole week.
Yep.
I'm glad you didn't bring your husband this time.
I know, right? God, that
Annoying
guy.
Man.
Motherfucker. I'm always like telling him to stay home. He's always like trying to come and shit. you
I
know?
just had to watch what I said all the time because he's always around. Like, what the fuck?
It's so hard to hit on you when he's here. Fucking A.
I manscaped and everything. I didn't expect him to
You
be
were like,
here.
damn, I thought it was going to be a bunch of strippers and Aurie. Damn it.
Baby powder on my butt and everything. I was like,
Damn.
oh, damn it. That was a waste.
Babe, shh. Go. I'm just kidding.
That mic over there is live still. He could just easily. He didn't even.
No, he's got his headphones on, so he's working back here and with his headphones on. So he doesn't even, he's going to watch this and be like, oh, damn, they were hella talking shit the whole time.
He's busy working, finding the best stripper
working.
song.
I gave him the best stripper song.
All right. So what are we talking about today, gentlemen? Because I'm all by my lonesome. So what did we choose?
Not only did I not know, but I forgot.
I think we wanted to talk about whether or not, like, do alpha males have to announce their alpha males?
Do alpha males truly exist? Or are those males that have to go, yeah, because, you know, I'm an alpha male. Are they truly alpha males? What do you guys think as males?
Absolutely not.
Not even close. Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to take it a step further. It's not only the ones that say, oh, I'm an alpha, blah, blah. It's the ones that call other people like beta and shit like that.
Like they feel the need to almost like demean other men.
Yeah, I mean, you can have those thoughts. That's fine. But then, like, if you have to announce it to everybody else, just like, God damn it.
It almost like it's like it zeroes out your alpha maleness that you had to announce it, right?
Yeah, but I think that if even if you don't mention it, but you're thinking it, you're still a punk. I mean, it's like so disingenuous, right?
And I'm a punk. Like, by this definition, I'm a punk because there's somebody that always comes to mind whenever I think of, like, oh, what's a good description of a beta?
Simps.
Yeah,
Like
simp.
a simp?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I don't know people well enough to actually define them as that. It just
I know this person well enough to know that he's a simp.
Okay, so question for you guys.
yes.
Ready?
Okay.
What would you, okay, so if I turned to you and I was like, Rich, what would you label as an alpha male? If you had to list character traits or things that an alpha male is required to have, what do you think of?
I think of a leader, like somebody that's like kind of like either is ingrained in them or they've grown to learn how to lead and basically and uplift men. You know, like an alpha male should not be somebody that just claims to be an alpha male and just does it online. I'm talking about guys that are actually like hardened men, like guys that will stand up and lead the pack, but not necessarily like Like they just kind of ingrain in them to lead the pack and not necessarily be chosen to lead.
Okay.
You know, like for me, like alpha males are males that without even saying it, guys
Like instinctually.
instinctually, other men will follow.
Oh, okay. What about you? What would your definition of an alpha male, or what kind of characteristics would they have to be one?
I would have to say that it has to be obvious that if shit goes down, they're the person that you turn to.
Ooh, that's a good answer too. Both very good answers.
And I stress the obvious part just because like alphas tend to like attention.
Alphas tend to like attention, or like they don't necessarily like attention. But
No, they like attention. Because remember the shit that you didn't believe in? There's also the alpha that doesn't look for attention. They're sigma. And then there's like the beta and then the whatever.
Oh, well,
yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
So I mean, if we're only talking about alphas and betas, then yeah, it's like, yeah, the core of it is they're the person that you look to get shit done.
So, what do you think are some characteristics or things that a man can do that like 100% X's out? Like, all right, that was a fucking non-alpha move. Like, you're definitely not an alpha. Do you have some things that come to mind?
Don't like.
So we already established a guy that announces it. That's definitely like, okay, you're not a fucking alpha. Is there any other things that you're just like,
Yeah. Also, aside from
breaker.
aside from don't announce it, but also don't ask for the attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because there's this conversation that's going on doesn't mean that you always have to chime in and be like, oh, I'm going to one-up you or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm cool with not being the best, like, DJ in the room or the best, like, person that does photography in the room. I'm cool with that. You know, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, you shot for that. Oh, that's cool. I shot for this magazine or whatever. I don't have to say that.
It's almost like you don't need others' validation.
Yeah.
What do you think are some things that are just like, nah, that's giving small dick vibes? No, I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
yeah. Well, I mean, for me, like, you know, when you define alpha and beta or whatever, it's never physical. It's always the mental.
Right.
It's always about, like, if shit hits the fan and in a stressful moment, I see that you cower or you back down and then you don't necessarily want to like face it up front or be up there in the fight, so to speak, then you're not alpha to me, no matter what you say.
Yeah.
Right? It's because it's all about a mentality. It's never about a physicality. It's about a mentality. You come in and then you will get shit done. You know, you lead the pack, you protect the pack.
Without thinking, basically, too, right? Like, it's
Without
almost
thinking.
like it's just in you
Yeah.
to do
It's
that.
like again,
what is it?
Instinctual?
Instinctual.
It's
Yeah.
ingrained in you to lead.
Yeah.
Do you think it requires an alpha male to be successful in a relationship?
Yes.
Like, do you think that part of the struggle in relationships is that women are picking men that are not living up to alpha potential?
Well,
It depends because I
Yeah.
mean it's like sometimes like super alpha males can be super toxic too. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Like super like guys in that mentality sometimes forget about everybody else, right? They'll easily throw you under the bus for the benefit of whatever they're trying to accomplish, right? So it's not a very like black and white thing. I think that sometimes it's like, do you really want a super alpha male? I don't know. It depends on what type of relationship you're in or what type of things you're doing. But yeah, sometimes those guys can be hella fucking toxic too.
yeah, because you can. It also deals with your environment. Because like, say a group of guys, and you take the alpha of those guys, he might be a toxic boyfriend. You know, because he's always all like, oh yeah, we're gonna go out to this bar, we're gonna have a good ass time, we're gonna talk to, you know, such and such, whatever, right? But when he gets home and he's not taking care of things like the correct way, you know, like he can still be alpha, whereas this bill needs to get paid. Oh, this needs to be fixed. I need to take care of this, such and such. That's very alpha to me. But then the moment his boys call and it's like, yeah, we're going out. Fuck you, babe. I'm not gonna, like, don't even wait up for me. Shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Because that could also be an alpha trait. But that's not like alpha behavior, honestly, like true alpha.
Yeah, and also like those that alpha trait, as Vince mentioned, can also be like, you know, you you can actually like press that onto your children, like especially when you have like boys, right? You're like you're supposedly the alpha male, so now you're stressing to your boys to be perfectionist here, almost like one-sided, like you're not, like failure is not an option kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then again, that just, childhood trauma,
The whole like
generation trauma.
men don't cry shit.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Yeah. And then the thing too is like, again, like that's important too, because I know there's a lot of alpha males, like for instance, an example, like in the military world.
Yeah.
Right. And they go through stressors and battles and wars, and they don't learn that part where there's that release. Men don't cry, but you have to, because you have to get that stressor out. And unfortunately, those are the guys that develop PTSD and a lot of like mental trauma that they have to kind of basically get rid of once they enter back into society,
The real world. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're no longer surrounded by other quote unquote alpha males or guys that are like so consumed at their job, that can get shit done, and now you're dealing with people that might not necessarily be at that same level. Then that's where that conflict starts, and now you become toxic to them.
And then it's like this generational toxicity that gets passes down.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you mentioned, you guys mentioned like military as an example of alpha male, right? Like, so that when you think of an alpha male, you think of someone like that, right? And that like general role.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to do that right now. But like,
General role?
Yeah.
I was like holding back, but then it came out. So would you say that a male that is a stay-at-home dad could also be an alpha male?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, okay, first and foremost, I'm going to tell you this. Small caveat. Not everybody in the fucking military is an alpha male.
Right, but that's what people picture, right?
Yeah, that's what
that
people
type of
picture.
person.
But even in like special operations, like like Navy SEALs, you're looking at Green Berets. Not every single one of those guys, just because they wear that badge, they wear that pin or whatever, doesn't necessarily mean they're alpha males. I mean, again, alpha male is a strict mentality.
Right.
And that there's leaders and there's followers, and wherever you go, no matter what your job is, no matter how high profile it could be, there's always going to be a follower to the leader.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so a stay-at-home dad can definitely be an alpha male.
Yeah, because they're still gonna be looked at as the protector, right? Unless like my wife is, was it Rousey?
Oh yeah,
Ronda
Rousey.
Yeah, but Ronda Rousey's husband was pretty. I mean, he trained her, so.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying,
But again, like I know I've mentioned this for a while. Remember the lion analogy, the pack?
Oh yeah.
Like the male lion protects the herd,
Right.
right? They rarely hunt.
Right.
The female lion goes out and hunts and provides the food, and then once they bring in that carcass, the male lion eats first.
Yeah.
And then everybody else eats after.
Yeah.
But you are still the protector. That's your mentality. Yeah, that animalistic instinct, I guess.
Yeah. Why do you think some men possess the alpha traits and some do not? Do you think it has to do with being raised by a single mother or upbringing? Well, I mean, there are a lot of statistics that have shown that that's where a lot of things go awry is when they're.
I've actually even heard a statistic that I didn't do my due diligence and look up the facts on it, but I did hear that statistically, a dual, like a father and mother, raising a child gives the same statistical like advantages of having a child that's raised only by the father.
Yeah, so I mean, I agree and I see that, and this is why. So I also watched and I did my due diligence on watching some videos, right? Of
That's why we have you.
right of this male, and Aurie and me were actually talking about this recently. He basically said like there's all the statistics, which I'm sure you guys have heard, that like they did a run on like sociopaths, murderers, and things like that. And when they looked it up, the one common denominator was that they were all raised by a single mom. And the reason, psychology and stuff behind it is because women are emotional beings, right?
Right.
Men are logical beings, but they're strong beings, right? So you mix the power and strength of a man with the emotional reaction of a woman because they're so used to seeing a woman react to things, react to things. So you put that in a man's mentality where you guys are already strong and like bullheaded, you know, and it's just like a recipe of disaster, which is where you get the murderers because they don't think logically like, okay, I'm gonna steal from this person, you know, what are the consequences? Because they didn't have logic mirrored to them, right? Growing up, what it was like, oh my god, we need to fucking eat. So what am I gonna do about it? I'm gonna fucking rob someone. You know what I mean? Like because they're like reacting like how they see women do. And I thought about that and I was like, that's actually very true because women, that, like it dawned on me. I was just like, you know, that like women they teach you the nurturing, they teach you the kind side, the softer side.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like shit hitting the fan, right? Like who's the first to freak out? Usually a fucking woman. And when shit is hitting the fan, you need a guy to teach you to be like, okay, calm down. Let's think of a plan. Let's think of a
I have a
lesson.
question.
But also,
for you.
do women play more mental fuck games?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
'Cause-
So that's why it fucks the guy over.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
basically setting up this kid for disaster, right? Because and Ackright even made a point about it. Like they were talking about how like women, because we're emotionally driven, our ego gets in the way, right? We're like, no, I'm not gonna let you fucking see your kid because me and you have a problem. And it's like, but now you're fucking creating this monster because of your problem with him. That's a personal problem.
I have a question for you. Did you do all of this homework before or after that episode that I was like, are single dads better than single moms?
Of course, this was after.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, because I still agree. I still think that like emotional plays a big part. That's never going to leave me because I am a woman. So I still stand on a lot of the things that I say, but because of this podcast, because of the things that I've watched, because I am very open to learning, which is why I love this podcast, right?
Yeah.
It's not us arguing, it's us learning, right? It was just one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like I see where your mentality is of like fucking logic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I get it, but I mean, I'm always gonna have the side where I'm like, well, I still want emotion.
No,
you know?
I think that emotion is very important. It's just not as important as logic. In my opinion. I could be wrong, like, and I'm happy to be proven wrong, but
In your
so
opinion,
far,
yeah.
my opinion is that logic is always going to be
Well,
But I think that the emotion kind of tempers or guides the logic.
that's kind of how I feel. So after, you know, learning and growing, whatever in the past like year or whatever in our podcast, it's like, yes, logic to me has a lot more value than it did before, right? Like, yes, of course, logical, whatever, black and white. But I was like, but what do you mean? Like, you know, be kind and like be empathetic, like all that stuff. But at the end of the day, I had to be proven wrong with statistics. Like numbers don't lie, right? Like if the numbers show that people are more fucked up because they're raised by women, I can't argue with that.
Like
what I mean?
Norman Bates, Jason Voorhees,
Yeah.
all raised by women,
Yeah.
single moms.
Right. So I'm like, okay, well, numbers don't fucking lie. Like, so now I'm like, okay, women, stop fucking using these guys like as like, or your kids as pawns. Like they need a male figure. Oh, that's another thing. It's not necessarily the dad. It just needs to be a male figure, right? That's
Like the Boys and Girls Club, you can find like
exactly.
mentors.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be the mom. It just needs to be a female nurturing figure, vice versa.
Yeah. But I mean, nowadays, though, like, you know, you got the whole like, yeah, I'm an alpha female, so I can raise my son to be an alpha male. I mean,
Oh, that was going to be my next question, which is why I brought up that. Do you believe that an alpha male can come of a single raised, you know, kid from like his mom or whatever?
Of course.
Okay, so
I mean,
you think it's possible?
Yeah, when I think that, you know, as a young boy, if you're ingrained to lead, I mean, you're gonna. It's a mentality, right? And I think that sometimes I don't see that as something that you're actually necessarily born with. It's something that could be essentially learned,
Right.
That's why you have mentors.
True.
So sometimes like a boy can come from a single family home raised by the mother,
Right. That's
But
what I was
yet-
trying to say.
but yet, you know, like through his coaches, through his uncles, all of that can actually
Still breed
show
an
him,
alpha.
you know, how to lead.
But it's also on the guidance too, because like I've seen a lot of like success stories where some guy was raised by a single mother, but because he was right off the bat knowing that he needed to help his mom, he wasn't a bitch. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like he got a job early. He started playing football. He started training harder than everybody else because he saw that as a means to an end to retire his mom. And then next thing you know, he's like draft pick or something like that, just because like he took on that role, you know? So it also depends, like some of those, yeah, of course, in that scenario, they have the coaches, which would be a male figure, so on and so forth. But, you know, it also depends on the direction, because I've also seen single moms overcompensate with their sons by like calling him like the center of the universe and just coddling him so much that I know that this kid that I'm thinking of right now is gonna grow up to be a bitch.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that too, where the mom overcompensated because she felt like the guilt. I know someone personally,
Yeah.
of not having the parent there, and that kid is the monster now.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
completely entitled, completely everything needs to be my way, and if it's not, why the fuck are you guys hating me? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like this, like a fit every time he doesn't get what he wants because the mom overcompensated, and she thought she was doing well though, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I was just being there for my baby. It's like, no, you didn't teach him to stand on his own 2 feet.
Yeah.
Because
And-
meanwhile, I've seen a single mom who had, you know, a 5-year-old kid, and he was doing the dishes correctly too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like not throwing a fit, not saying, let me stay up a little bit longer, blah, blah. He was like very, very well behaved.
She
But-
instilled in him like,
yeah, but she gave him that direction.
right.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. It's like, you know, like going back to, do you have to announce it like that friend of yours that, like, you know, he has to have it his way or the highway.
Yeah.
And he's stubborn with everything. If he read like quote unquote like what it is to be an alpha male, he'd think he's an alpha male.
Right. Right.
And that's why I don't like it when people come up and say, "Oh, I'm this, I'm that." I'm like, you're never gonna know who's the alpha male until you put that guy in the middle of a bunch of other guys
Right.
and say, "Go win whatever this or solve this problem," and see who steps up in front.
And who fucking breaks, right?
Yeah, who
exactly.
breaks?
Who's the one that steps up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And I agree with that, because this person, you're right. On paper, like, he's mad, he's angry, he fucking,
he
I'm
probably
an
got
alpha
him.
male.
Yeah.
But if you were to give him a life problem, which is why he throws this fit, he literally breaks, right? It's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, da 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 da. I'm like, nah, you ain't no fucking alpha male, bro. Like, you're just expecting someone to hand it to you on a silver platter because you're throwing a fit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so I 100% agree with that for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely some intelligence aside from like the masculinity and all that other stuff. There's also charisma too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also feel that sometimes the alpha male trait, one of the most alpha male traits to me, is when you don't have to act like the tough guy. You know how to kind of sit back, you know, like kind of like on some Bruce Lee shit, right? He was never like, look at me, guys, I'm the fucking best at what
yeah,
you know?
for sure.
He just kicked back, and then when someone challenged him, he fucking kicked their ass. You know what I mean?
when
It was
you-
just like,
yeah, that's when you know you're the alpha male, when you can sit back and go, I can kill everybody in this room, and
but I don't have to say
I don't
nothing
have to
about
say
it.
nothing. I'll
Yep.
just sit back here and be like, "What's up, guys? Let me have fun."
Like Ackreight's coach in jiu-jitsu, Master Barrett, he's like this little Japanese guy that grew up on Hawaii, you know, on the island or whatever. When you look at him, and he's won like so many world champions, when you look at him, you're just like, oh, who's that little nerdy, maybe Filipino, maybe Japanese? Like, you can't really tell, and he's all fucking hella quiet, and you don't know that he's like literally beat half the people in the world because he's just like tiny and quiet, you know? It's
Right.
it's like that, and you're like, that's a fucking alpha male right there, you know? Yeah.
You know, like, okay, so I've never really considered myself an alpha male, but there has been like a time in my life where I was more arrogant.
Yeah.
You know? So there was times that I don't know how this like relates, but it kind of does. Hold on. So there,
Stay with us.
I used to go to a lot of like pool halls and stuff. You know that Victor used to play pool a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I used to kick his ass all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I used to go to pool halls all the time, and I would always like look around, and I would just be like, oh, I could beat everybody here, you know? But I realized that you could be the best without telling anybody. And that's when I was the happiest.
When you didn't have to
Yeah.
tell.
But I also know that as soon as you think you're the best, somebody's going to prove you wrong.
Ah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Someone's going to want to challenge that for
and
sure.
you know, the person that actually beat me when I thought that I was the best, you know, because I entered this tournament and stuff like that, like they weren't even that good. It was just that my arrogance just got to me.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's what tends to
And-
happen, I
and
think.
so that was, I think that was one of the only times that I was really like arrogant in in the pool hall. After that, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just sit back, I'll chill. If my friends wanted to go play pool, I'll just be like, oh yeah, you guys go ahead and play. I'm just gonna kick back, and then like I'll play later.
Yeah.
But I'll play like right-handed, you know, or not to hurt anybody's feelings or something like that.
Yeah.
But then I always knew that it's like, oh, it's cool. I could beat this person, but I'd rather everybody have fun.
Yeah.
Did that fit in this conversation?
It didn't, but that's okay.
Okay.
That's a good story.
It kind of did.
It kinda did.
It was like in its own little way. So
Yeah,
I got
okay.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said alpha
No.
once. Yeah.
No, that because the thing is, like, you know, with being alpha males, there's no such thing as like winning or losing, right? It's about leading. Like that's at least for me, it's about the mentality to lead a pack.
So do you think many alpha males can coexist in the same place?
It's very hard.
Okay.
It's very hard, but then you learn how to work within a team to kind of fit into your whatever roles you have to accomplish the goal.
So do you think like 3 brothers could all be alpha males?
Yeah.
There can be, but then they have to, 1, be willing to coexist, and 2, eventually they're going to realize that there's an alpha of the alphas.
Yeah.
Okay. There's an alpha of the alpha.
It's always like the older brother, right? There's
Usually,
the older brother,
right.
and then the 2 other brother, then the whatever. But like it's like anything. There's like that team lead, so you understand that he's making that decision. So as an alpha male, you're leading everybody else underneath you.
Yeah.
To help this guy lead.
I see.
You know
you're
what I
like
mean?
You're like training the alpha male.
So it's like a tier. It's like a again, in the military, it's like the chain of command.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes
So
sense.
you have like the supreme alpha who has 2 subordinates under him, which could also be alpha, but because they're subordinates, they don't outrule him, but
Yeah.
they are alpha to whoever else is underneath, and vice and so forth. You know what I mean? It's like what do you call it? In unit leadership. So whatever unit you're at, there's a leadership role.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a pyramid scheme of alphas.
Yeah, that's literally what I was
yeah.
gonna say. Like, yeah, pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, like, you can have a team of alphas and then like one alpha, you know, like look at, was it World Cup?
Yeah.
You know, there's somebody that's going to lead,
Right.
but it's
You're
the
still a
World
team,
Cup.
yeah.
They're all alphas.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
you know, also like when it comes to sports and all that other stuff, the alpha male is not necessarily the best player either.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
Yeah.
it's the actual leader.
It's the one that
Whoever
yeah.
like they all gravitate
Yeah.
towards his words, kind of. a
yeah,
thing.
or whoever, you know, like this is what we're gonna do. So you kind of follow his guidance, his direction.
He can even tell the best player like this.
No,
is
he
what
will
you should
tell.
do.
He
Right,
will tell
yeah.
the best player, and that best player will
Execute it.
will execute
Yeah,
it.
look at what's it called? Look at football. Typically, the one that everybody looks to is the coaches and the quarterback, right? But the quarterback is not the biggest or the strongest on any of the teams.
Or the best player on.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. But they all look to the quarterback.
That's true. That's very, very true.
And most like historically best players have always had that alpha male trait. They've been able to take their, even though I just said they're not necessarily the best player, but I'm saying like most of these guys will be able to take their team and help raise them up to the occasion.
So what would you say, what advice would you give to single moms? Because that's obviously something that's come up a lot with men having issues and things like that because they were raised by a single mom. What kind of advice would you give to a single mom to kind of help not breed this like bitch assness type of guy? You know, like we talked about before, like a lot of these like sociopaths or like bad people who are not alpha males, not leaders, have all these issues are because they were raised by emotionally driven women. So say I became a single mom and you were like, hey Aurie, this is what you should do to make sure your men still turn out strong, great boys. You know, what are women doing wrong basically? Or what advice could you give them?
Don't be, what do you call that? Damn, I just lost what I was gonna say.
Well, I was gonna say what I said earlier. Don't coddle them and give them direction.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, stop rewarding your kids. Like, you don't treat a dog like that. You know what I'm saying? If you tell a dog to sit and it doesn't sit, you don't give him a treat. So don't tell your kid to pick up their toys, and if they don't pick up their toys, you just say, okay, just go to bed and I'll clean it up for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like fucking have them give them accountability too.
Okay. So guide them, but make them follow through on what you're making them do.
Yeah, and if you are going to buy them the newest like iPhone, even though they're only in first fucking grade, make sure they're getting good grades. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna give them the new PS5, make sure that they do their homework first, or you know, like they can keep their room clean. You know, those are some basic ass things, but then it's like there's some people is like they have their kids, like somebody said before, they have their kids just to show off that they can have kids, and it's like they're spoiling them so much. No, that's what fucking grandparents are for. Raise your fucking kids.
Yeah, like the whole soft parenting thing.
Yeah,
I'm for that, but I'm also not, because I'm like, yes, okay, you should talk to your kids with like respect and try to hear their feelings and stuff. But like, if your kid's being a badass, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I understand your feelings, son. You know what I mean? Like, I would be like, get the fuck out of here with that slap you.
Yeah,
silly,
you see how good of a relationship I have with my daughter and how well she turned out and everything. Also, think of this: how many times have I put hot mustard on her eyes? You know what I'm saying? She earned that shit.
I mean,
so what would you say to a mom?
I mean, set aside your pride, right? I mean, set aside. It's not like you're doing a bad job.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing the best you can, but you cannot be a man, right? There's Boys and Girls Club. There's mentors that can help you with raising your child, because no matter how disciplined you are at home.
So your piece of advice is you have to have that male figure.
You have to have that male figure,
okay?
Because he's the only one that can explain it, how to be a man, right? I mean, is your mom going to be able to tell? I mean, I don't know nowadays, but is a mom able to tell you how to be a man?
No, even me. Like, I'm like, go to ask your, like, I think I'm pretty level-headed. Like, I'm definitely like the type of mom that is like, no, you need to be a gentleman. You need to do that shit yourself, you know? But at the end of the day, it's still valuable for me to tell them, go talk to your dad about that, because I agree. Like, I don't think there's only so much that we can do, no matter how great we are.
No matter how knowledgeable you are,
right?
How much does it resonate? Right. Because the guy can go, why is my mom telling me how to be a man?
Right. Exactly.
Because instantly the kid will know. If the kid was like already at that point, he was gonna go, well, how the fuck do you know?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, but yeah, so set aside your pride. You're not. It's not necessarily that you're doing a bad job. It's not a black mark against you. Go find resources to help raise your child the right way. I mean, not necessarily raise her, like how to be a man.
Have that influence.
Have that influence. Uncles. I mean, there's obviously, hopefully you have uncles, cousins, somebody.
Okay,
fuck it, us. We don't get a lot of comments. If you put something in the thing, like, we'll answer it eventually. At least Rich will, because he reads that shit. And then he tells me, Vince, you didn't read this shit. I'm like, fuck. So after the second time, I'll read it.
Trust me, I'll screenshot the comments, say, hey, you guys gotta answer this now.
Yeah.
He has done that.
Yeah.
So.
You know, one thing that I did notice is, like, let's say, like, I had I'm very blessed because both of my parents still love each other and they're still around and everything like this. But I will say this, when my mom asks me for help, I drop what I'm doing and I help her, because I want to, be the provider, the protector, and everything like that. My dad is still around. I know that he's not as, he's not as young as he used to be. So he can't be like, everything, fix this and this in the house. But I do know that if you are a single mom and you have a kid that you want to alpha or whatever, you want them to be more independent or grow up right, let them know that they can help you and reward them when they help you.
Yeah. I definitely think that's a good piece of advice, because like I said, I know people personally where the mom just the whole way through coddled them, like, no, it's okay, baby, we'll go get your car changed, even oil changes.
Yeah.
Instead of saying like, go learn how to get your oil changed, she was like, it's okay, baby, I'll pay for your oil change, and now it's like the car breaks down and they're fucking throwing a fit, like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, whoa, like, it's gonna be okay, guy.
I honestly think that at the point where we're walking and talking, like I say, like maybe
do push-ups,
6, 7, 8, it's already too late. Right? Because your emotional and your mental states, I think like 1 to 3, by the time you're 3, you're kind of already set.
Yeah, your core years are actually 1 to 5.
1 to 5.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, again, if you always go back to the animal kingdom,
Right.
like you look at, like, again, lions. I don't know why I'm on this lions thing, but you know, like lion cubs, they play around with each other, right? But
Right.
they're actually training
To wrestle.
to wrestle,
yeah.
to hunt. And then by the time they get old enough, they go with the father to actually go hunt.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's something that that they might not necessarily be, again, in the pack, there's always that alpha male,
Right.
but you're training them to become possibly in that role,
Right.
To set them right. Again, you could have, doesn't mean that if you get the right mentors for your kid and he comes out straight as an arrow, he's the alpha male, because if you put him in the middle of a pack of other guys, he might play the follower role.
Right. He might fall back.
But it's not necessarily a bad thing either.
Right.
Right? It's just that he's not going to be the one to take charge.
Right.
But you put him on that right path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've set him on that right path, as opposed to like now you're trying to like fix years of rearing.
Right. Because he basically has the tools. It's just up to him if it's at that point you've at least given him the right tools.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's in his pocket if he chooses
Yes.
to use it. Yeah. That's a good point.
Trying to find out that term. It's like the alpha of alphas. It's like
It's just
the one with like there. It's the top predator.
I mean the top predator.
So, okay, I'm just asking this question because there's always going to be someone that goes, well, what about this, right?
Okay.
So say they say there's no way to have that male figure, right? They're like, oh, I don't have any family. It's just me and my son, like whatever. Do you have any key, like, okay, make sure that they start, you know, opening doors for women, make sure that they have chores at this age. Like, do you have things that you can suggest that you're like, okay, fine. Total like out there thing. They can't have a male figure. These are some key things that you really need to instill in your boy.
I mean, I think just like what Vince said, you know, you can't coddle them. There has to be some sort of like not necessarily a reward system, but they got to know that
You work for something.
I wouldn't say
work for
reward system. I would say more of like positive reinforcement
That's what I
for
said.
That's a
good
good way.
behavior. Yeah.
yeah. But I'm saying it's like that, and then eventually the kid will end up going to college,
Yeah.
and then I mean, if it's really in his nature, he will lead.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it sometimes snaps. Like, you know, you finally
Yeah.
found out that, oh, I'm the leader of this group now.
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, I have to lead. There's nobody else here but me. Sometimes when you're put in that position, sink or swim,
Right.
Yeah.
and you find out real quick if you're gonna sink or swim.
So do you guys have any like tidbits of advice for, say, like a guy that's very like insecure, a young boy, right? And he wants to be that alpha, and he's like, well, what do I do to become that?
Don't.
Do push-ups.
I mean, don't. I mean, the thing is that, you know, like you want to be that alpha. You gotta have to know what it takes and what type of responsibilities
That comes with
that comes
right?
with it, right? And sometimes it just might not be what you can do.
So to be honest, I still don't think that I'm an alpha, so I can't really give advice on this. But I will say this: you shouldn't seek validation from other people. But you do have to get confidence. So, you know, work on yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and then when the time comes and you are put in that position, it's like it becomes instinctual.
Yeah.
To take care of somebody, to protect somebody, to do the right thing, you know. So, like, who cares what other people think?
Just be the best version of you.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you go through that at work, right? So you get a job, and what the first thing you do? Customer service.
Right.
You're the customer service representative.
Yeah.
You do well enough, and maybe you become assistant manager.
Right.
So now you have the opportunity to lead. So now you have to learn how to lead, right? Hopefully your supervisors or whoever your lead was good enough to actually teach you how to lead.
Yeah.
Right? And then from assistant manager, you're not the manager. So now you're leading more people. And then from manager, you're general manager.
Yeah.
It's just a progression
A
in life,
process,
a process in life that sometimes it just, I know it kind of contradicts everything where you say you have to have like the male mentor like early. it's always best that way. But again, people can be really timid and docile, like, and then they get their first job, and it's like,
all of a sudden it comes out of them.
Actually, I can do this. Again, it's a sink or swim, right? Because
Right.
it's either you do it or you don't work.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's like the military. Not everybody goes in the military as like this strict or this not responsibilities. What do you call that? Like your like discipline.
Diligent or something.
No, the discipline.
Discipline.
So that's why your first 2 months or 3 months of basic training teaches you that discipline. You get up in the morning, you make your bed, your shoes, your laces are tied a certain way.
Yeah.
You have to stand a certain way. You have to answer a certain way. It just basically sets you straight for that, like that discipline. And then as you move up in rank, then you get more responsibilities, and then that's when you start to learn how to lead.
Okay.
Read also, get off of Facebook or YouTube.
Read a motherfucking
Read
book.
a motherfucking book. Like on leadership. Like there's a book, an excellent book called Leaders Eat Last.
I've heard of that book before. I mean, I've never read it, but I've heard of that book.
Right? Why do leaders eat last?
Because they have to make sure that everyone else is okay.
Because
They're the provider, protector.
No,
I'm gonna
because
write this down.
most leaders don't do all the grunt work.
They kind of wait for it to be set up for them, kind of a thing.
No, you lead. So you do all the logistics. You prepare everything.
Right.
So for me as a leader, because I'm at the top of the diamond or the triangle or whatever, all the guys that are below me are actually doing all the hard work.
Right.
So why would I eat first?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
See, I was
that just
thinking
clicks.
more in like the Greek or like the if the food is poisoned.
No.
Oh,
yeah.
you trusted them.
Pawns, yeah. Eat first, peasants.
But have you ever seen that picture? It's like the leader, like the people in like pulling the wagon.
Yes, no,
and the guy in the back,
Mm-hmm.
and the true leader is actually the one in the front.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Right. So at the end of the day, you're leading from the front, but everybody else is working in the back to complete that goal.
That makes sense.
Right. So at the end of the day,
You go first.
no, why am I?
No, not you, but the leader saying that. You go
Yeah,
first.
everybody
You go
else,
first, yeah.
everybody else goes.
Right.
And that's actually one of the things in the Marine Corps that they're really big on.
Oh, okay.
Is that when it comes time to eat, it's from the lowest rank all the way to the highest rank.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
The more you know.
but yeah, it's like it's an excellent book. It's called Leaders Eat Last, and normally, and that's why it always pisses me off when I'm like at work or somewhere else, and the president's the first to fucking eat. Or my manager is the first to eat while everybody else is just watching.
Would that be a book that even females should read, or do you think it's a male-centric book?
I think that I think
I think everybody should read every book.
Yeah, I'm big on that.
I mean
too.
females can lead too, just not at a highest level as
They can lead within the females.
no they can lead they can lead a smaller group.
Right.
But as I think when it comes time to like getting like the larger picture, it's not necessarily the thing. And I think we can all agree on the whole emotion versus.
What do you guys have? This is kind of off subject, but it just like popped into my head right now. How there's that chart, right, of like the different countries that have women as leaders or as the president.
Yeah.
And it shows like their success rate, right, within like how many people have died and how successful their country as a whole been and blah, blah, blah. And it showed that all the women, I forget, there was like 8 or maybe 11 of them. It was like all women leaders, and they had like fucking nuts success rates, right? Like they're just thriving as countries basically. And then it showed the countries that had male leaders, and they were like falling apart because of wars and like things like that. Like what are your thoughts on that?
Well, they're thriving because we are killing ourselves to protect them.
Oh, that's a good way
Like-
to put it.
Like
So I never thought of this, but I'm gonna agree with Rich.
Yeah, because I mean I don't know much. That's why I'm like
like
picking your brain
I mean
about
like
it.
okay, like what give me a country. How active are they in war?
I don't know. That's the thing.
Right.
That's
So
why.
but if you look at it, like war-torn countries are fighting each other to protect certain areas.
the other countries.
Yeah.
Ah, that's a good. See, this is why I ask questions because I'm like that is so smart. Okay.
Like I mean, hey.
Because obviously when the women read this, right? Because I can't remember when this was like something that came out in the news, and it was like on TikTok and shit like that. And I remember like all the women commenting like, see, it's because, you know, women like they're the nurturers, so they know how to nurture a whole country and blah blah blah. So people were like all backing up, like, see, this is why women need to be the leaders, da 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 da. And of course, me not knowing what you just said, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if the numbers show, then maybe it's better. And then like you just said that, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, look it up. Female countries thriving under female rule or something like that.
Okay, countries with female leaders. Let's see. Let's take a look at these. They're probably all Eastern Europe and Switzerland. Bullshit. Iceland, Namibia, Nepal, Bangladesh, Myanmar. Well, Myanmar's actually getting ravaged, so you know. Okay, let me see. Denmark, Estonia, Ethiopia, thriving. I don't know.
You know, this is not.
Well,
related.
I don't know if that was in the thriving, but they obviously have a female ruler.
The country of Georgia. Well, we're always in Georgia supporting them, so we're always there.
So this isn't related, but it is related. I was trying to find the statistic because I heard that there was a very, very high percentage of men that are incarcerated or in prison because of a woman.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, yeah.
too.
So same thing. Like, yeah, these women driven or like led countries are thriving, but that's because the men are still protecting them.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like when you guys said that, I was like, oh shit, that's a really good point. I would have never looked at it that way without your male perspective. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of these countries. I mean, I wouldn't call Honduras thriving. I mean, I'm looking at this list, right? And
Yeah.
So it could also be that list is very like condensed, like basically.
Right.
Like
They made it towards that agenda. Yeah.
Like Hong Kong, right? I mean, it's recent.
Yeah.
Weren't they under French rule for all that?
Forever. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. With any type of thing you see online, you could always pull up stats.
Right. There's always a back
Right, because I could pull up stats that says, you know, the countries led by men have won more significant wars than countries led by women.
Yeah. Very true.
I mean, but I you know, again, stats can always be.
It's always the angle that you serve it to the people, right?
Right,
It's like
right.
it really depends. Like at
Right.
the end of the day, so
But yeah, but a lot of those countries, like you know, like Georgia, Honduras, you're looking at, Estonia, have pretty big United States military presence.
okay.
You know, we're in the area, close enough that nobody is bothering them.
That makes
Right.
sense.
So if you want to say that,
Yeah.
if when you say your country's thriving because we don't have to go to war, it's because of the outlying areas
that are going to war
that
are led by the men.
that protect you
Yeah.
from being attacked.
Right.
You know.
Makes sense. It definitely makes sense. So do you guys have anything else to say about alpha males? Thoughts, questions, concerns that I can't answer?
Yeah. I don't know. I just say. I mean, I've met a lot of alpha males, right? But those are people that have actually seen display it through their actions
Without having to say it.
They've never ever said
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. That's.
Do you agree that every alpha male you've actually met has never had to state that?
I would have to agree that every real alpha male, I've learned that they were alpha males without being told that they were alpha males.
Right. Like you just saw it in action.
And every dude that's told me he was an alpha male, I just kind of laughed. You know.
So we'll talk about the alpha female thing on another one when we have a couple more females here to give their perspective. But that's our perspective on the alpha male thing.
The alpha cooks. Wow.
All right, you guys, thank you so much again for tuning in to this episode. Again, please don't forget to use our code, TheBabes10, for 10% off your Mikey's meals. And we'll see you on the next one. 1, 2, 3. Bye.
Okay, let's see if we have Bijo on that.
Bijo.